My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, imagine this. While the world is asleep, while the streets are silent and the sky is painted with the first light of dawn, there's a hidden moment when the doors of heaven open and Allah's mercy begins to descend. A moment when the angels record names. Names of those who rose to pray, names of those who whispered Ya Allah while others chased sleep. And it's in this sacred time, after Fajr, that a secret unfolds, a secret that determines whether your day is filled with barakah or burden. My brothers and sisters, what if I told you that the way you spend the first hour after Fajr could change the way you live your entire life? What if your risk, your peace, your clarity, even your du'as being answered, are connected to how you treat this divine hour? Most people pray Fajr and rush back to sleep, unaware that they are turning away from a treasure that the Prophet himself prayed for his ummah to receive, the barakah of the morning. The Prophet said, "O Allah, bless my ummah in its early hours." So when you sleep after Fajr, you're not just missing rest. You're missing the very time Allah has chosen to bless. Stay with me until the end of this message, because today we will uncover why these early hours hold your hidden blessings, how sleeping after Fajr quietly steals your risk, and how you can revive your mornings to attract divine success. The morning barakah is not just a phrase we hear in lectures or read in books. It is a living reality, a spiritual treasure that Allah places in the hearts and lives of those who honor the early hours. When the Prophet made the dua, "O Allah, bless my ummah in its early hours," it was not merely a wish, it was a divine key, a secret code for success in this life and the next. The morning is the time when the heavens open and blessings begin to descend. It is the time when the angels record the deeds of the believers and Allah himself showers his mercy upon those who rise to remember him. This is why the morning holds power. It's not just the beginning of your day, it's the beginning of your risk, your energy, your peace, and your purpose. When you rise for Fajr and stay awake, you are walking in the light of that prophetic dua. The Prophet didn't just tell his companions to wake up early, he lived it. After Fajr, he would sit in remembrance until sunrise. The companions followed his example and witnessed the barakah that poured into their lives. They conquered lands, spread Islam, and carried light across the world, all starting from a heart connected to Allah in the quiet of dawn. That time carries a fragrance of peace that the rest of the day cannot match. The silence of the morning, the cool air, the stillness, all of it is an invitation from Allah saying, "Come closer to me before the world distracts you." But sadly, most people sleep through the time when angels are writing names of those seeking forgiveness. They sleep through the time when barakah is being distributed. They chase a few more minutes of rest and lose the entire day's blessing. And then they wonder why their days feel heavy, why their hearts feel empty, and why their risk seems tight. It's because they have slept through the moment when Allah was ready to open the doors of sustenance. Barakah is not found in how much we have. It is found in how blessed what we have becomes. 1 dirham with barakah can achieve more than 1,000 without it. 1 hour filled with remembrance can bring results that months of effort cannot. This is the secret of the morning, that Allah amplifies the efforts made in those hours and fills them with unseen power. Think about it. The businessman who begins his work after Fajr finds productivity. The student who studies after Fajr finds clarity. The mother who remembers Allah after Fajr finds peace in her home. And the believer who reflects and makes dua in that time finds doors opening throughout the day. This is not coincidence, it's divine design. Allah places his light in the hearts of those who value his timing. When you walk in sync with the schedule that Allah has blessed, everything else aligns. The birds that sing at dawn, the world that awakens with calm, all of creation glorifies Allah in the morning. Shouldn't the believer, the one who says, "La ilaha illa Allah," be among them? The secret of morning barakah lies in being present when the world is quiet, when your heart can truly hear the whispers of remembrance. It's in those moments when your dua carries more sincerity, when your repentance is more real, and when your connection with Allah feels unshakable. Allah loves those who seek Him early because they put Him before their comfort. Staying awake after Fajr is a sign of seriousness in your relationship with your Creator. You are saying, Ya Allah, I am here before the world begins, before my responsibilities call me, before anything else, I am yours. And when Allah sees that sincerity, He responds by placing barakah in your time, peace in your heart, and risk in your life. So, if you want to transform your life, start by honoring the early hours. Sit in silence after Fajr, open the Quran, whisper your du'as, and let your heart breathe in remembrance. Don't underestimate the quiet. It's in that quiet where your future is being written. The secret of morning barakah is not about how long you stay awake, it's about what your heart does while you are awake. Remember, Allah blesses the time that is dedicated to Him. And whoever values the early hours, Allah values their entire day. The morning is a gift. Open it with faith, and you'll find the blessing you've been praying for all along. Fajr is not just a prayer. It is a test. A test that separates the awake from the asleep, not merely in body, but in soul. When the call of Fajr echoes through the darkness and the believer rises while the world still sleeps, it is a sign that their heart is alive. It is proof that their love for Allah outweighs their love for comfort. The bed is warm, the world is silent, and Shaitan whispers, just a little longer. But the one whose heart beats with Iman hears a louder voice, the voice of the soul calling, your Lord is waiting. This is why Fajr is a test of the heart. It measures not your energy, but your priorities. It reveals who truly desires nearness to Allah and who is trapped in the chains of sleep and negligence. The Prophet described Fajr as a moment of great significance. He said, the 2 rakahs of Fajr are better than the world and all it contains. Reflect on that. 2 simple units of prayer, in the silence of dawn, carry more value than every treasure, every dream, and every possession in this world. Why? Because Fajr is a declaration of loyalty. When you wake up before the sun, when you fight your nafs to bow before Allah, you are saying with your actions, my comfort means nothing compared to my connection with you. Fajr exposes the truth about our hearts. Whether we live for dunya or for akhirah, whether we chase sleep or seek submission. It is the first battle of the day, and how you fight it determines the strength of your iman for the rest of the day. The one who wakes for Fajr and stays awake afterward feels a sweetness that cannot be explained. A sweetness that the heedless will never taste. It's the serenity of knowing that you chose Allah over the world. It's the calm of standing in prayer while creation sleeps. It's the joy of knowing the angels are witnessing your worship and writing your name among the people of remembrance. That peace that settles in your heart after Fajr is not ordinary. It is a sign that Allah has accepted your effort, that He has looked upon you with mercy and placed light within you. And that light, that tranquility, carries you through the storms of the day. No matter what comes, you feel anchored because your morning began in obedience. But sleeping after Fajr, especially without need, is a different kind of test, a hidden one. It is a test of gratitude. After Allah has granted you the ability to wake, to pray, to seek His mercy at the most blessed time, will you close your eyes again to the blessings unfolding around you? The angels witness those who remember Allah in the early hours. They descend to listen to your dhikr and ascend carrying your names before your Lord. Why would anyone wish to be absent from that gathering? Fajr is not only a test of your body waking up, it is a test of your awareness, whether your soul recognizes what is happening in the unseen around you. Every morning, Allah chooses servants who will begin their day with remembrance and grants them barakah in their time, while others are left to chase it the rest of the day and never find it. So, ask yourself each dawn, do you want to be among those chosen ones? The Prophet said that, whoever prays Fajr in congregation and remains remembering Allah until sunrise receives the reward of a complete Hajj and Umrah. Imagine that. Without traveling, without spending, you can earn a reward that purifies your soul and elevates your ranks in the sight of Allah simply by staying awake and remembering Him after Fajr. That is how much Allah loves those who pass this test. Fajr reveals the sincerity of your worship. Anyone can pray when it's easy, but only the sincere bow when it's hard. And when you conquer Fajr, you conquer yourself. You start the day with victory, a victory over laziness, over distraction, over heedlessness. Allah honors those who honor His timing. The one who gives up sleep for Allah will find rest in the heart, and the one who sacrifices a moment of comfort for Him will find lifelong barakah in their time. Fajr is more than a prayer. It's a mirror that reflects who you truly are. So guard it, honor it, and stay awake after it. For every morning that you rise in remembrance, your soul becomes stronger, your iman deeper, and your life more blessed than ever before. The hours after Fajr are unlike any other time of the day. They carry a special stillness, a divine calm that fills the air. It is during this sacred window that the angels descend, that hearts are at peace, and that minds are clearest. This is the time Allah has filled with light, the light of guidance, of focus, of barakah. When a believer remains awake after Fajr and uses that time for worship, reflection, or even simple good work, he is not just being productive. He is aligning himself with the rhythm of creation. Everything around him, from the chirping of the birds to the rising of the sun, is engaged in the remembrance of Allah. The world wakes up praising its Lord, and the believer who joins that chorus becomes part of the universal dhikr that fills the heavens and the earth. The Prophet would stay seated after Fajr until the sun had risen, engaged in the remembrance of Allah. This practice wasn't a habit of leisure, it was a lesson. A message to the Ummah that the time after Fajr holds spiritual weight that cannot be replaced later in the day. Those who have experienced it know the air feels different, the thoughts are clear, and the heart feels alive. That is not coincidence. That is spiritual energy flowing through the believer. The Quran calls this time the recitation of dawn, and Allah says, indeed, the recitation of the Quran at dawn is ever witnessed. Witnessed by whom? By the angels who record your devotion, by the heavens that open to your voice, and by the Lord who loves to hear you speak His name while others are still lost in sleep. When you use the time after Fajr for Quran, for dua, or even for planning your day in the remembrance of Allah, you are planting seeds of barakah that will grow throughout the day. Every act you do after Fajr carries a multiplied reward. Your focus at work increases, your mind becomes sharper, and your decisions hold more wisdom. You may not realize it at first, but that quiet time strengthens you inwardly. It gives you spiritual clarity that helps you make the right choices later. It's as if Allah Himself is blessing your intentions and clearing your path because you chose to honor the time He loves most. When the believer begins his day with remembrance and productivity, the entire day flows differently. You begin with gratitude, not stress. You begin with focus, not confusion. You feel guided, not lost. This is what spiritual productivity truly means. Not just doing more, but doing everything with the light of barakah. You could spend the same number of hours as others, but your results will always be different because Allah has touched your time with His blessing. This is why those who stay awake after Fajr often testify that they accomplish more in a few hours than they could in the entire rest of the day. The angels of the morning carry their du'as, their intentions, and their efforts, and Allah multiplies their outcomes. But if you sleep through this time, you are shutting the door that Allah opened for your success. You may wake up later, but you'll feel sluggish, distracted, and heavy. You might chase results, but they'll always seem distant. This is what happens when we disconnect from divine timing. Our work loses its soul. The Prophet taught us that barakah doesn't come from more effort alone. It comes from Allah's pleasure. And Allah places His pleasure in the hearts of those who rise early, who remember Him when others don't, and who use the light of dawn to seek His guidance. So ask yourself, how are you spending these hours? Do you rise with purpose or fall back into heedlessness? Because the time after Fajr defines the tone of your entire day. If your morning begins with Quran and dhikr, your heart carries peace until night. If it begins with laziness and sleep, your day follows that same heaviness. Spiritual productivity is not about busyness. It's about being in tune with the divine flow of barakah. When you stay awake after Fajr and fill your heart with remembrance, your life becomes guided, your mind becomes clear, and your efforts become blessed. The secret is simple. Give Allah your mornings, and He will bless the rest of your day beyond what you can imagine. Sleeping after Fajr may feel harmless, even natural, but in truth, it hides one of the greatest spiritual losses a believer can face. The early hours after Fajr are not ordinary hours. They are sacred moments when Allah distributes rizq, peace, and guidance to His servants. When a person chooses to sleep through that time without need, they close the door to blessings that were descending upon them. The Prophet warned us about this subtle danger because he understood the spiritual and worldly impact of these early hours. He prayed, "O Allah, bless my ummah in its early hours," meaning that the morning is not just the start of a day. It's the gate through which barakah enters your life. If you close that gate with sleep, your day begins in deprivation, and you may feel it even if you don't understand why. Many of us wonder why our rizq feels tight, why our hearts feel heavy, why despite working hard, we find little satisfaction. The answer often lies in how we treat the morning. Rizq is not only the money in your hand, it is also the peace in your heart, the health in your body, and the clarity in your mind. These are distributed by Allah when the angels descend at dawn, carrying mercy and light. To be asleep during that divine transaction is to miss out on the unseen blessings being written for those awake in remembrance. That is why people who begin their day after Fajr often feel energized, focused, and peaceful, while those who return to bed feel lazy, drained, and disconnected. This is not coincidence, it is spiritual law. The morning is the time when Allah commands the earth to open its treasures. The winds of the dawn are filled with barakah. The Prophet said that the early hours hold success for the believer. When you choose to stay awake, you are walking in the field of divine blessings, but when you choose sleep, you walk away from them. You may think you're gaining rest, but in reality, you're losing rizq. Shaitan loves to whisper in those moments, convincing the believer that another hour of sleep will help them feel better. But the Prophet taught us that Shaitan ties 3 knots on the back of your head as you sleep, whispering laziness. When you wake for Fajr and remember Allah, 1 knot is untied. When you perform wudu, the 2nd is released, and when you pray, the 3rd disappears. After that, you feel light, refreshed, and blessed. But if you return to sleep, Shaitan reties those knots, and the heaviness returns. This is why a believer who prays Fajr and stays awake feels spiritually alive, while the one who returns to bed feels dull and weary. We must understand that Allah created time with a purpose. Some hours are more valuable than others. The time after Fajr is one of those moments filled with hidden barakah, the kind that multiplies your efforts, protects your day, and expands your sustenance. When you sleep through it, you are not just losing time, you are rejecting an invitation from your Creator. The Prophet and his companions were people of action. They would begin their work after Fajr, traveling, studying, teaching, and worshiping. And because of that, Allah put strength and victory in their lives. They didn't chase rizq chased them. Their hearts were at peace because they understood that blessings come not from how long you work, but from how you begin your day. When you start your morning with remembrance, your work becomes worship. When you fill your early hours with Quran, Allah fills your day with light. But when you sleep through those moments, you strip your day of barakah before it even begins. The secret is not in how long you stay awake, but in how you spend the time. Sit in dhikr, read even a few verses, make dua, or simply reflect. Each moment becomes a seed of rizq that will grow throughout your day. The believer who values the time after Fajr never worries about sustenance because they have learned where it comes from. It comes from Allah, and it descends in the hours most people are sleeping through. So do not let the whisper of sleep rob you of the wealth of barakah. Resist it. Fight it. Because when you stay awake after Fajr, you are not losing rest. You are gaining light. You are building a life that flows with peace, productivity, and provision. And whoever guards those early hours with remembrance and purpose, Allah promises to fill their day, their home, and their heart with blessings that never fade. The way you treat your mornings is a reflection of how you treat your entire life. A person who values the morning values time, and a person who values time values purpose. Every sunrise is a message from Allah that you are still alive, that your story is still being written, and that you still have a chance to draw closer to Him. The believer who begins his day with remembrance after Fajr understands this truth deeply. He knows that life is not measured by the number of breaths he takes, but by the number of moments he spends remembering Allah. Morning is the time when hearts are pure, distractions are minimal, and intentions are renewed. It is the perfect time to realign yourself with your Creator before the noise of the world begins. When you use that time well, you set a spiritual rhythm for the entire day, one that leads to peace, clarity, and purpose. Those who waste the morning often find their days slipping away without meaning. Hours pass, yet little is accomplished. Their hearts feel restless, their minds distracted, and their energy drained. This is the consequence of neglecting the divine design of time. Allah created the morning as a sacred foundation for the believer's day. The Prophet emphasized the importance of it through his dua, "O Allah, bless my ummah," in its early hours. This is not a mere supplication, it is a divine instruction. It teaches us that the morning is not to be wasted in sleep or heedlessness, but invested in worship, reflection, and purposeful living. When you start your day with Allah, you carry His blessing into everything that follows, your work, your family, your plans, and your dreams. But when you start your day without Him, you walk through life empty-handed, constantly chasing what will never satisfy your soul. Look at the examples of the righteous before us. The companions of the Prophet would wake before dawn, pray, and then engage in remembrance or work immediately after Fajr. They understood that the secret of success was not just effort, but barakah. They would often say, "Whoever begins their day with Allah, Allah will take care of their day." This was their philosophy, and it became the reason they achieved so much with so little. They lived with focus because their hearts were anchored in remembrance. Their mornings gave them strength, and their strength gave them purpose. When a believer honors the morning, he honors his mission in life. Allah did not create us to drift through our days. He created us to serve, to worship, to grow, and to give. The morning is your daily reminder of that mission. It whispers to your heart, you still have time to become better. It's the moment when you can repent, set new intentions, and ask Allah to guide your steps. It's the quiet moment when the soul can speak clearly because the world has not yet distracted it. Those who listen to that whisper live meaningful lives because every day begins with direction. But those who sleep through the morning often wake up chasing their purpose instead of living it. They rush, they stress, and they feel lost, not because life is unfair, but because they began their day disconnected from their Creator. Time without remembrance is like a body without a soul. It moves, but it does not live. The morning is meant to be your spiritual heartbeat, the pulse that sets the rhythm of your entire day. When you dedicate those first hours to Allah, you are not losing time, you are investing it. You are planting the seed of a day that will bear fruits of peace, success, and satisfaction. So, ask yourself each morning, what kind of person do I want to be today? Will I start my day with Allah or with the dunya? Will I wake to remember my purpose, or will I sleep through the blessing meant for me? Remember, your morning sets the tone for your destiny. If you conquer the morning, you conquer the day. And if you conquer your days, you conquer your life. The believers who rise after Fajr with purpose are those who shine in both worlds. Their faces carry light, their words carry wisdom, and their lives carry meaning. Because they understood one timeless truth. Whoever gives Allah the beginning of his day, Allah will bless the rest of his life.